Hi. So the purpose of this video today is to talk about how we terminate wires into a 25 position modular insert used in the HEAVYCON line of rectangular connectors. So let's take a look and see what we've got to work with here, and then I'll get into actually doing the assembly. So first and foremost, we have our modular insert, the 25 position modular insert. We have the male 25 pin. We have the female 25 pin. Part numbers 1414374 and 1414375. So these are our blank modular inserts. They take crimp contacts. We have our crimp contacts here. The socket contact that I'm going to be using today is 1418788, and the pin contact is 1418786. And these are good for 20 to 24 gauge wire. What I have here is some 22 gauge wire from our SAC cables. And then for the tools that we're going to need, what we've got is our crimper, the 12-12-510 that works with these D-sub contacts. We have our insertion and removal tool. It's all one piece. Comes under part number 1658794. And then you have your set of strippers. I'm going to be using the Wirefox 2.5, but anything that's going to get you a 4mm strip on your wires will work. And those are the basic tools that we have here to do this assembly. Okay, to start things off, first thing we want to do is prepare the wire. So I already have the jacket stripped back, but you may not have that. You may just have a group of discrete wires that need to be terminated. So what we're going to do is, because the depth of the contacts themselves, the cavity for the wire to go into is 4.2 millimeters deep, and we have a stopper here to prevent the wires from going too far. Right now this is set at 5. I actually want to move this up a little bit so that it is in line with the 4mm mark. And so now when we put our wire in, this will give us a 4mm strip. Just bring up each of my wires, push it into the stopper, give it a little click, and that's it. Okay, now that the wire is prepped, we want to crimp the contacts onto our 22 gauge wire. So, in order to do that, we have to set up our crimp tool to make the proper crimp on these contacts. And we actually have two slightly different settings, one for the pin and one for the socket. You can find those settings based on the contact that you're working with in the table that comes with the instructions that are directly included with the crimp tool itself. So first thing obviously we need to do is turn this on. It's set to 1 because I just calibrated it. To do the calibration, you actually close this up, adjust the dial here so that it's at 1, and then you take your tool in here to make sure that it's calibrated. And then you can release that. Tool's on, ready to go. And so what I'm going to start with are my female contacts. And so those are the 1418788. And as I go across this table here, I have multiple settings that I have to adjust for here. It's for 22 gauge wire. We have different settings for 20, 22, and 24. We want to set this dial to 0.75 millimeters. So I actually want to turn this back down to 0.75. And we want to use setting number 7 for the locator on the back here. So there's a little arrow on the back, and what we can do is we take this here, change this over to 7. If we were doing the pin contact, we would actually change that up to 8. And that's really the difference between these two. Sockets are done with locator position 7, and pins are done with locator position 8. So first thing you want to do is get your wire and get your crimp contact. And so we're going to just get the contact onto the wire there briefly and bring over our crimper, slide that in there, give it a crimp, and that's it. So we'll try that again with a few other wires here. Easy enough. Alright, so those are all my pin contacts. So next I want to do the socket contacts. So I have it currently at the locator at the 8 position for the pins. Lift that up and shift it to the 7 for the socket contacts. And then I'm just going to go ahead, put my socket contacts on the wires and crimp them away. There we go. All my sockets and pins are crimped now. Okay, so the final step here is to insert the contacts into the housings. So our female contacts are going to go into the female insert housing, and the male contacts are going to go into the male insert housing. Now, we have a tool here that we get to do that insertion. The red side is your insertion tool. The white side is your extraction tool. So we don't need our extraction tool right now, and that's just going to cause problems as we try to push the contacts in. It'll jab into our hand. So we're going to separate these and put the removal tool aside. So this is all we need to do the insertion. I'm going to take my male insert here, spin that around because I'm going to come in from the rear side with the contacts. And what we want to do here is lay this on here so that everything's held together right there like that. And we feed our contact into the housing, and then we're going to take that tool and we're going to use that to make sure it gets pushed all the way in. And once that's in, we can come back out. It doesn't require a lot of force, but it does need to come in here to help guide these in. And that's really all there is to it. And these are just going to feed in here. If it comes back out, it didn't go all the way in. Let's go ahead, get that in there. Once it clicks a little bit, then you know it's in. And those are all terminated inside there. So this is going to be the same procedure for the sockets. Take one, get it in there, hold the wire in place, get that lined up. That one actually went in without the tool at all, because these do, the tool is just there really to help provide a little bit of additional support. But you can take the contacts, and a lot of times they will go in. If the wire is rigid enough, you can create enough force behind it to push the contact in place. The insertion tool is just there as an extra support to help make sure it goes in all the way. So there are a few different ways I use this tool now, and you saw that there are some cases where you don't even need it because the wire is rigid enough to support pushing it into the insert. But this is an extra tool. It's just a guide to help get that contact in there, and it does fit down in there to push the contact all the way in. But it doesn't require a lot of force. It just has to be enough to get the insert locked into place. Now alternatively, if you need to get one of these out, there is the removal tool. If somehow a mistake was made or what have you, you put the wire into the wrong position. There are 25 positions per insert, and so you have to be careful about which wire goes where. If you do need to take one of these out, you can start this removal tool up here on the wire, and you want to get that wire to kind of snap into the groove in there. And you're going to slide this down into the contact, and then once it's in fully, you can hear it pop a little bit, then the whole contact can come out. And then you can put it back in whatever position it needs to go back into. And that's our assembly process for the 25 position modular insert. You're prepping your wires by stripping them 4 millimeters, taking those, crimping them on using our crimp tool, hand tool, and then you're taking them and inserting them into the insert themselves. They can just push into the insert and lock in place on their own with the rigidity of the wire, or if you need to, you can take the insertion tool to help guide that in and push that in. Doesn't require a lot of effort, but it will give you a little bit of support. And like I said, I always take them apart so that I'm not jabbing myself in the hand while I'm trying to work with it. So, and then our extraction tool if you do need to remove contact and put it into a new position. So that's everything. And good luck. I hope you have a good time building up additional HEAVYCON connectors.